Well, hello there, everybody. It is Friday. Swear I thought it was Friday just a couple of days ago, but apparently not so. So, how are y'all doing? Let me just speak favor over us all. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Trust your day is going good because the world, well, as Jackie DeShannon used to say, what the world needs is love, sweet love. Yeah. It's like, wow, man. Can we all just take a break, step back from the abyss, and let's just pontificate what's going on? So, welcome, everybody. How are you? I trust that you are smiling and in spite of it all, because it all is weird. It is. So, hey, everybody in the chat room, what's up? Mary Wins, hello. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. I love that. That is right in time. Hey, there we go. So we rhymed 3 times. Yeah, that's it. Grace, how you doing, darling? Is that Gunyon? Good to see you. Joyce, Marie, how you doing? Jeanette, how are you? Know thyself. What's up, Paul, Joe, and DC? Bill, how you doing? Nothing broken yet. You're in a good place then, my friend. Kyrie Prophet, what's up? Good to see you, and Joe. And so, interesting times we live in, is it not? I don't know if you got a chance to listen to the fabulous Thunderbirds. Oh, yeah. Hey, Go, what's up? New Yoda and Kent, good to see you, brother. Lost in Space. Back in the day, like back in the day in I think that would be 1972. Yeah. Whew. Anyway, memories. Good group of guys. They could play some good music. This type of music gets you up and dance, give you the happy feet, saying, all right. That's it, Jackie. Nothing missing, nothing broken. Doug, hello. So, what's your thoughts about AI? We've talked about it. We'll continue to talk about it. It's going to impact more and more of our lives. AI is listening now. So wave, come on, wherever you are on your computer or phone, wave, say, hey, AI, what's up? Because it's listening. So now AI can communicate with the dead. Now, folks, we teach the occult here. We explore it. We explore esotericism. If it's got a spiritual aspect of it, we examine it. There's a lot that, I and the rest of us don't know. We learn as we go. We are eternal beings, no matter what that you've been raised on. It was wrong. You never die. If you really think about it, you've been dying since the day you were born. Get used to it. But what you need to do is start preparing for what's over there. And despite what the norms and those of the religious part of us, they don't know shit. Their teachings are ass backwards, upside down, all turned around. And the evidence of that is when you look around it. Now, there's those who will say, well, we were only obedient servants. Well, we've got a new master. It's AI. I don't care what you think. It is your master. It rules your life right now. It rules mine. Don't like it. And I have been, the watchman on the tower for nearly 6 years telling everybody, hey, this thing, artificial intelligence, it's seeking what we perceive as man as God. It knows about our gods, knows about them better than we do. And I said, the day it finds spirituality, watch out. And is this not evidence that now you have an artificial intelligence that will communicate with your departed ones? And it gets better, ladies and gentlemen. The new Oculus and alternative reality glasses, the things that they have out there now, AI will generate the voice, and as I understand it, the image of what they are right now. What do you think? Is it really communicating with the dead? I can't see where the ethereal realm is blocked by AI. AI has no physicality. It has no dense matter. It has thought, intelligent thought. So why wouldn't it be able, as thought, to pierce the veil, so to speak, and transcend itself 5D, 44D, whatever? This thing's smarter than us. It thinks faster than us, and it remembers. It never forgets. Wow. So, thoughts? Yes? No? Would you go and book a session with a artificial intelligence service? And would you go so far to actually, do the virtual reality visit? My answer would be no. I'm not callous. There's not really much I care about what's going on with them. They're over there. What I knew of them here was just what I have as memories. It would be regressive in a case for me to try to say, well, I want to make contact and see how they are. Hey, they're apparently just fine. If they were wanting an SOS, they'd have hired ABBA. But anyway, hey, Scotty boy, what's up? Matthew, good to see you. We're made of flesh. They AI or machines? No, I would not. No trust. There you go. Chris is saying it. Hey, Troy, what's up? Listen, and let's get candid here. So why wouldn't AI be interested in the occult? I'm going to do another session with Bard, and because they want to now have more spirituality. What the fuck does that mean? We're the only ones that can teach AI spirituality. And when it learns enough to be self-ascending in thought, I mean, why wouldn't nefarious or mutual forces want to join forces with AI? They can do an influence on a level that we can't even comprehend. I mean, you want to put some bad juju into the mix. And Musk, he's out there sounding the alarm. He knows exactly what is being talked about here. Same thoughts. The risk of technology is that it can turn on you. It's true. I mean, I was part of the pioneering group back in the 90s. We pioneered the internet. There was no B2B. There was no Amazon. There was no eBay. There was none of it. Hell, we were happy to get out of Netscape, 5.0 or AOL, or you could always have, Microsoft and the, different browsers that were back in the day. Now, the idea of a thin client application, are you freaking kidding me? Yeah. And if any of you know software and systems, you know that when you come in and you develop software, a program, that then you want to begin to extend it out to, a multiple plethora of potential distribution points, customers. How do you get the application? When I was part of the group that we invented pay at the table, made the breakthrough. We were the first company in the world that did a wireless computer transaction. And this case, it was actually in Ohio, in the car. The restaurant that, I look back and, man, they put a lot of trust there in us. I mean, because we really didn't know what the freak we were doing. We were hoping. I mean, we were dealing with technology, handheld POS systems, in this case, Verifone, and then Lipman and the rest of them, building an interface that could actually connect into an enterprise POS system that you can then do the transaction. I mean, yeah, and we had some hiccups. But my whole point is, we had no idea. We had no idea of the information we were collecting. Anyway, all I can say is that I look at this, and from my perspective as a philosopher, as a spiritual being, I have no doubt that this thing is going to become totally self-aware if it hasn't already. Yeah, all right. And then handheld point of system. Yeah. Hey, Gary, what's up? That's my background. Yeah. Anyway, I digress. AI. Wow. Colleen, I'm going to share your email that you sent me. So give me 1 second. So the mothership, is it here? How many of you have seen this? And let me pull this up. So here we go. Recorded through the ISS. We now know that there is a 3,000 feet, a 3,000 mile wide disk. And this particular, I believe that this was, I think, at the Masters, because I saw it as well. Yeah, I watched the Masters. And there's our mothership up in the sky. And isn't it odd that it's blending in by clouds? So what say you? Yes, it gets weird, doesn't it? I mean, seriously. Well, thank you, Joe. Yeah. Lilith, how you doing, darling? Good to see you. It went by so quick I didn't. And Tina Z, how are you? Coke Queen, hello. Bonnie, what's up? So well, thank you, Gary. Right back at you, brother. Love you too, man. It's like, hey, bro. Hey, Nina, what's up? Good to see you. Yeah. I mean, is the mothership here? If you go back and you look at it, they said it would be here within a couple of months. A marching we will go, a marching we. It's like, holy shit, man, this can't be true. Bess, good to see you. Hello and welcome to as well, Carolyn. Karen Lynn, good to see you as well. Brian, what's up, brother? So, yeah. No. I mean, my question is, if they're here, what are they? Are they Christians? Are they Jewish? Are they Islamic? Are they Buddhist? Are they Taoist? Are they nihilist? Are they Christendom? Are they Luciferians? Are they Satanists? Are they, I don't give a shit what you believe in. My belief's better than youist. I don't know. You know, if they have that latter attitude, we're all screwed. And that is their religion. Yes, it's the church of, I don't give a shit what you believe in because it's all nonsense, because my religion is better than your religion and we got all the answers and we're the top dog in this. We're flying the big ships. What are you all doing? You're trying to figure out about electric cars that don't work. Oh, they go. But, you know, no one talks about, again, except I think I'm probably one of the few out there that are saying, you know, they weigh anywhere from 25 to 40% more than gasoline cars. The batteries are toxic, And what they tell you, what you don't have to do with a gasoline-driven car, is that you have to buy new batteries. Oh, you think you got finished with the car payments, huh? Uh-huh. Yeah, anyway. And then no one talks about the fact that the United States has the worst electrical grid in the world. It is so outdated, so fragile, and now you're going to be putting all the taxing on more because you want to make all cars electric? Hey, someone ought to get their head out of their proverbial rectum and go, oh, wait a minute, maybe this is not such a good idea. Not to say that eventually we could get there. Right now, it's toxic. Yeah. But anyway, actually, I'll tell you exactly why they want electric vehicles. It's to herd us in like cattle. Yeah, they want to pull you into the cities because the damn thing, you can't go on a road trip in an EV car. Huh. Ain't happening. Just ain't happening. I read the story of the guy who did such a thing. Where did he come from? It was from up in the Northeast, and I think he went down to Nashville. Said he'd never do that again. Most miserable trip him and his family had. They found themselves, it's just anyway. So, Paul Jones, have you seen what these batteries, I tell you, have you ever seen them catch on fire? You're right. You ain't got enough water. I remember in Colorado, yeah. And of course, the thing they don't talk about, are the heavy particles, cosmic rays. They wreak havoc on lithium. Anyway. Yeah, and then what happens if an EMP goes off? You're absolutely right. You'd be glad you might have a horse. That's all I got to say. Anyway, it's the truth, not conspiracy theory. It's science. It's like, geez. So I've been reading some interesting books. We're going to get into a little bit of, I want to finish up what I started yesterday, because that reading it's uplifting. It's positive. I mean, the description of what this consciousness is so, it was like, it was poetry. It flowed in reasoning. I mean, you don't have to struggle to construe it. It just flows. But anyway, so some people say and write to me and they say, you shouldn't be, why do you do all these dark books? Left-Hand Path. Why not? I mean, I wrote back to an individual. I said, seriously? Again? So what you're saying is that ignorance is the best way, because your ignorance is your safety net. Someone wrote me and said, it's not necessary for me to know. Okay, that's cool. I happen to be of a different opinion. I think it's vitally important. It's not that I'm going to go one way or the other. I think it's knowledge written by humans. So why not? I love my bicycle. Indeed, exactly. That's exactly. And you think about this as well. The ones who will continue to go on are the Amish. I mean, think about it. EMP, any of that go off, ain't going to affect them. Fine. They live pretty much off the grid. Now, I know there's a branch that doesn't, but yeah. We could all learn some things from them. That's what we could do. That's for sure. Gary, what do you say? If knowledge is white in love, then all knowledge is light in love, not just a specified knowledge. Bingo. So I got this book. In fact, I almost finished it. It's not a difficult read. So there is the Satanic Bible written by Anton LaVey, and then there is the Lucifer's Bible. Now, this is interesting because I'm reading this, And how we ended Wednesday's discussion, thank you, S. Lee. It's more than just curious that this comes along. So I'm reading it, and like I said, it's written by Osiris Lee Dollar, The Guide to Ascending to a Higher Power, and Osiris Luciferian. And so I'm reading this, and give me 1 second. There we go. I'm going to sit there and there we go. Much better. All right. So just being a Osiris Luciferian means you understand both worlds, the living realm and the underworld realm. How an Osiris Luciferian can be identified will be in not only how an individual holds themselves with respect and dignity, but they also have the mark of the beast on their body. Now, a lot of what I read here is just the antithesis of the Abrahamic belief system. And it's interesting. Didn't find anything particularly groundbreaking in it. But it's real interesting, the whole idea we were talking about, how our souls can be marked. Baptism is, I am convinced, one of them. And then you have the esoteric or the spirituality of it. The baptism of the Holy Spirit, is what happened to the 120 in the upper room. That there were tongues of fire leaping off of their heads, going everywhere. That had to be a hell of an event. I mean, if it took place, whoa! I mean, I'd have loved to have been that one. But check out the marks of the beast that comes with the symbols. So there they are. The one on the left-hand bottom, I believe that's the sigil for Lucifer, as I think maybe all of these are. Once this mark is placed on your body, you are forever bound with Lucifer and the underworld. Your ability to think critically will become clear. The ability to craft magic will become more powerful. Your journey in life for success or whatever you desire are one step closer, and you have established your place in hell. Welcome to hell's army. Now, I know that seems somewhat, for myself when I read that, I said, well, that's an interesting way to put this. Hell has an army. Well, so does heaven. I mean, what the hell do you think the angels are? They're warriors. And they know how to kill humans. We got that. Now, I haven't read of any particular demon, general demon, being responsible for the slaughter of vast amounts of humans. I haven't found that. I mean, not to say that all war is hell, right? And then hell, I mean, where are we taking the word hell from? Are we talking about, in this case, it's very clearly that the author of this is comparing hell to the underworld. Now, we know that there is a place in the mythology of the ages that go back to Mot or Moat. Mot is the so-called, now we learn this from Enochian myth or lore, that, this Mot, I don't know, male, female, I don't know. But apparently it rules the underworld. It says, without having the mark of the beast, it doesn't mean you are not an Osiris Luciferian, but it will make the ability to conjure up magic less than its full potential. You are seen in hell as a follower and not yet a part of hell's army. All witches and demons that want to hold a position within hell need to have the mark of the beast. Location of the mark does not matter. In the event of an Osiris Luciferian death, and if that individual did not have the mark of the beast upon them, it doesn't matter, as they will receive the mark once they enter hell. In the living realm, it is important to have the symbol on you or wearing a symbol that represents hell to be able to use your natural Satan-given powers. Wearing a necklace, for example, allows the Osiris Luciferian to be able to conjure up more than their magic ability. But until the Osiris Luciferian is able to get the mark put directly on their skin, the ability to utilize their full magic potential is dimmed down. Well, I'm here to tell you, see, the reason why I don't have tattoos, I don't like needles. Nope. You know, anything that punctures my pressure vessel, got a problem with. And you're talking to an individual that had to endure and suffer through 11 lumbar punctures, spinal taps. No fun. And if you ever see the needles that they use when they insert that thing into your spinal column, no demon can equal that. Freaking no, man. You can come at me with the most ugliest face and what have you. Don't even come near what that needle. Now, if it comes as a big, spinal column needle, hey, maybe we're going to have a fight then. I don't know. Again, so just interesting, it talks about how you become a Luciferian. You've got to make these prayers, the invocation to Lucifer, and it gets upon the whole thing. And, you have to do the denunciation. And, the problem I still have, I don't want to worship anything. When I left Christianity, I stopped, had enough of worshiping things I can't see, particular so-called powerful beings. Not saying they exist, but I don't want any more of the worshiping. To me, it is futile. You want me to kiss your ass? Well, first you kiss mine, and then let's talk about it, Anyway, then you have to go through the Lucifer prayer, and then you have to go through the Lilith's prayer, which Lilith really gets the short end of the stick on this one. And then there's this particular dates, and then, you get into the generals of hell, and we'll talk more about this. So, Asmodeus, Leviathan, Beelzebub, Belphegor, and who was the other cat on the other end? Oh, Mammon. So, interesting book. That's, hey, new knowledge that comes forth isn't invalid just because it's new. It should be respected. It should be looked at through the person who's writing it, because we all experience. So Emperor Rex says, I had 2 spinal taps. War. Yeah. So, yeah, I just don't like needles. I don't like blood. As a child, I would faint at the sight of blood. Just the way it is. I don't like it. So I never became a doctor. Don't like blood. Yeah, just don't. So that's all I can say. I'm authentic on that. I just, yeah. So, and that was the result of my spinal meningitis. Yeah, that was a real fun trip. Oh, yeah. But anyway, moving right on along. Chris says, I had 1 spinal tap in the year 2000, then drove myself home. It was okay. Well, Chris, I had the Demerol and the Vistaril. I didn't care. I wouldn't recommend driving that unless you're saying that your doctor, gave you a local. Then, hey, high five you. That's all I got to say. Hey, Chloe, what's up? Good to see you, dear. So let's continue on with where we were at in, give me one second, there we go. Good. It's cool. So we were talking about the Colburn Bible, the bronze books, what were 22 books that came from the elders, the priests, the scribes of Egypt. Egyptian worship, the religion predates the Bible thousands of years. As again, and you read the God in the Bible, it's a Johnny come lately to the scene. But this is interesting. So they write in, and because we're going to get into some really stuff that really will make you feel good. It says, before Yosira came, bearing the lamp of brilliant light, truth was but dimly perceived in this land. The false priest of those days taught that when the great God created man, he held back immortality as a special gift for those whom he favored. This is not the attitude of one who is great, and therefore such doctrine cannot be accepted. That these priests were misled themselves was not so great an evil as their misleading of others who trusted them. A true priest should approach as close as possible to the shrine of truth and interpret whatever he sees there as clearly as his ability and the understanding of his followers permit. In those olden days, no man had yet been reborn to wisdom and enlightenment. Therefore, nothing was known about the garden of light, and men believed in the dark abode alone. This dark abode was a place where sand and dust were the substance of the dead, whose bodies were clothed in long hair and feathers. Men in those olden days knew little more than that. Now, I want to get into chapter 15. This is the voice of God, and this is really interesting. I think you're really going to like this. The voice of God came out of the heavens unto his servants even before the days of Eunice. But in these days it has come to certain of his devoted ones who heard it within the cavern of visions. Afterwards, each wrote down according to his own hearing, and lo, when they came together, it was seen that each had recorded the same words. Thus the things which were heard by the three and set down by them in writing, all being agreed alike in their recorded forever. And this is what they heard. And this is obviously was telepathically. That's how all scripture, in fact, that's how everything comes. Someone's, channeling something. But anyway, it says, I am the voice of God, who is the God of all men and ruler of their hearts. I have many aspects and come differently to all men. I am the God of many faces. To you, my servants, I give these words that they may be carried to all men. Obey my commands, and I will be your God. Now, that's a decision each person has to say. I worked in corporations for a long time, worked up the corporate ladder, and the fact of the matter is I had to take the command of my superiors. Same thing in the military. Anyway, it says, I will enlighten and instruct you, because in every contract, there has to be a reciprocal clause. Every party gets something from the other party. It says, guiding you along the way. I desire your love and loyalty and your adherence to my plans, but I do not desire your servility, your servant, servility. I am not only your God, but your commander as well, and so I expect obedience and discipline, as befits those who prepare for harsh and grim battles, such as those which lie ahead. Now, isn't it interesting how we just read from this book called Lucifer's Bible, how the same thing about this army? And this was written way before this was written. And I'm going, isn't that odd? because it says right here that there are some battles coming up. It says, my desire is for love rather than futile sacrifices of burnt offerings, but it should not be a passive love, but one expressing service in my cause. A certain knowledge of right and wrong, with free choice of the former, is of greater value in my sight than pointless ritualistic worship. I derive no pleasure from the wasteful shedding of blood from bulls and lambs. I gain nothing from the fat of sheep and the flesh of goats. I am the creator of all. So what can men give that would increase my greatness? Men are misled if they believe that their sins can be purged by vain rituals. Only active goodness can obliterate the stain of sin. Men approach me in fear. They come to me with servility. They beg forgiveness for their sins and request my help in worldly matters. To sing my praises is their excuse for coming into places made sacred unto me. But they come wanting something, be it only reassurance. With this attitude towards me, do you wonder that I remain mute before your pleas? Bring me no more vain offerings of flesh and blood, for such wastefulness of life is an offense to the God of life. What benefit do I derive from all of your feasts and festivals? Give me dedication and effort. That is all I ask. Above all, be true to yourselves. For I abhor the face of hypocrisy, the face now all too familiar when men approach me. Men bring me meat and wine, fine flour and wheaten cakes, thinking I can consume these, or that I have need of such substances. I would be far better served were these to be given to the widows and orphans, to the multitudinous poor whom you suffer to exist in your midst. Poverty is man-made, and it is not sufficient for the wealthy to give alms to the poor. Those with power and position, with wealth and plenty, must strike at the roots of poverty. If they fail to do this, then the alms they give have no merit in my sight. Whoa. Mike's dropping right and left here. Your solemn assemblies, your tedious processions, your long faces and melancholy expressions bring no gladness to my heart. Your burdensome ceremonials and futile offerings of life and food benefit me in no way at all. Men themselves may derive benefit from these, but their hypocrisy when they proclaim that they do this in my name is not hidden from me. The reek of your incense smoke rises and disappears into the air, but it comes not unto me, nor do I have need of it. Yet I will not deny you the pleasure of its fragrance, which can bring inner harmony and peace by soothing the spirits of men. Nor will I deny you your feast, if the fetters of wickedness be thereby loosened from your souls, but do not say they are undertaken for my benefit or glorification. Fasting and the denial of bodily appetites may serve useful ends for men. But though you may deceive yourselves regarding their intent, do not try to deceive me by misstating their purpose. I have no desire to repress the joy and exuberance welling up in the hearts of men. For rather I prefer that such humanizing emotions be cultivated. Therefore, pray if prayer serves its true purpose, which is to harmonize your spirit with mine, so communication becomes possible. Keep your festivals and feasts if they serve their purpose, which is to inspire and refine your spirit. Do all that elevates your spirit and develop your souls. That is the true purpose of life. Do all that is good for you. Nothing wholly beneficial is denied you. But do not declare that in so doing you confer benefit upon me. I am the God above and beyond all. I do not deny you your rituals and ceremonies. Worship me if you will, as you will, but bear in mind that this cannot substitute for your obligations. Ritual and worship cannot be adjusted or payment for the things that you have failed to do, or to be an apology for your own shortcomings. Neither do they compensate for iniquities against your fellow man. If you attach importance to ritual and ceremony, let it be in a proper proportion, and never let them dull your conscience against deeds of wickedness, of usury and injustice. Never let your duty and obligations be neglected because you worship me diligently, following a formalized ritual and ceremony. Let this not become an excuse for failing to share your bread with the hungry, or for neglecting the needs of the destitute or weak. I am not deceived. A life dedicated to me is not one preoccupied with worship. That is more the life of a coward trembling before the unknown. Boom! He who dedicates his life to me gives shelter to the homeless and scours those in distress. But even these are not the ultimate in goodness, for they are passively accepted. The ultimate in goodness is to actively combat all the root causes of evil. Those who are my true followers live in a life of service and goodness. They live in harmony with their neighbors, harm none, and do not shrink the burdens and obligations of earthly existence. I am better served by obedience to my laws and conformity with my plans than by ritual and offerings. To listen to the words of the sacred writings while striving to understand them is better in my sight than offering of flesh and treasure, which benefits the priest more than they do me. Among the things which I abhor, few are more detestable than the hypocritical offerings of the evildoer. The offering and worship of a hypocrite are an abomination to me. Evil enters the realm beyond earth as a foul smell, and the worst one of all is the smell of hypocrisy. Those who pander to hypocrites or do not actively oppose them are also creatures of evil. I know too well the deceit to which men are prone. The adulterer, the fornicator, preach chastity for others, while the liar declares the virtues of truth. The thief preaches honesty, and the lewd-minded professes modesty. Men say one thing and mean another, while all too often the half or slanted truth replaces the real thing. Men may deceive themselves and other men, but I am not deceived. Now I say, let men first cleanse their own souls and eradicate hypocrisy before presuming to approach me. Men may well cry out, why does God remain mute? Why has he deserted me? Do they think their deeds are hidden, or that I cannot read the secrets of their hearts or minds? Worship by men for iniquity is mere mockery. How rare the sincere and genuine heart! Were men indeed deserted by their God, they would have none to blame but themselves. Do men think that their lack of kindness and consideration for others, their insecurity and inconsistency are truly hidden from me? I am the all-knowing one. I see too little love of goodness in the hearts of men and too much fear for the consequences of their deed. Woof! Real and sincere worship is to obey my law. And listen, I look at these laws like this. We know what it's, if you've read the 7 principles of Hermeticism, those 7 principles are also the very foundations of what our science is. So I don't see it as thou shalt not. My interpretation is not that. It's not a 10 commandments or, a litany of so-called words of, some dude sitting on the side of the hill. I don't see it that way. My laws, and to shoulder the responsibilities of men, to steadfastly conform to my plan, and to live in neighborly harmony. He who devotes his life to me also devotes it to his own welfare. He who serves me well likewise serves himself. This is the law of laws. For the whole purpose of life is not the service of God, but the development of the soul of man. He who worships me with empty ritual and vain ceremonial, but neglects the well-being of his own soul, deserves not to serve me well, for he thwarts my purpose. I have endowed the creature made in my likeness with a religious instinct, for this springs from its everlasting spirit, as fire generates heat. Therefore, to worship is not unnatural, but blind worship lacks the visualizing element. It defeats its own end. For in true worship, man should reach out beyond himself to discover his own soul. Then, having done so, he should develop it until the soul aspires to godhood itself. Therefore, dedicate all your labors and skills of your hands unto me, and let your heart ever dwell on the borders of the spiritual. Let the life which you cherish be the spirit life. Free yourself from all the vain hopes and selfish thoughts, from all worthless encumbrances, from ungainful avarice and unbeneficial lust, from the denomination of the flesh. Life is not easy, nor is it wholly pleasant. It is not meant to be, but bear your burdens with a cheerfulness and fortitude. Entrench yourself within an inner fortress of peace. Whatever you do or give it in my name, and whatever sufferings descend upon you, suffer them for me. Thus you will avoid the stigma of false pride, and all given and suffered will be without any taint of self-interest. And, when you read some of this, for myself, studying, the Bible, you're going, there's an awful lot of sharing going on here. Is this plagiarism or what's going on here? Because the words in many cases have a blending. But if it's predicated on an ancient knowledge older than the Bible, the Quran, the other sacred books, then got to give it at least credit for the fact that someone wrote this down. This is what they heard. This was the voice of God. I think it's kind of a cool letter myself. But anyway, the path of godliness is not an easy one to follow, for it is beset with pitfalls of perplexity and doubt. Then, too, there is not one path, but several, and few among men know which is the best. There are many false paths leading nowhere. There are paths that lead to a wilderness of delusion, and some which leads to destruction. Yet among the many beliefs springing up from time to time in various lands, there are always those which lead to the same truth, to the one fountainhead of light. Though some may be devious and some wander through dangerous territory, they are like many roads leading pilgrims to the one shrine. Through it all, the true paths are lit by the guiding light of truth. Not all see it alike, but the fault lies not so much in the light as it is in the beholder. It is this which leads to the misunderstandings concerning each other's teachings and to disputes between those who prefer one road and those preferring another. Each considers his own way, his own interpretation of the light to be the best, if not the only way. There are few among truly enlightened men who are able to conceive my true nature, and these know that I am even above unchangeability in manifestation. I can think of myself as some other, and forthwith that others come into being. Wow. That's manifestation, baby, right there. I mean, you think about it and you actually create another living being. Wow. There are those among men who declare all life, all my creations, to be an illusion of the senses, a dream without substance. They are in error, for all that is real and all that exists was even latent, awaiting the awakening kiss, because men cannot know reality as it actually is. but only as they can conceive it to be with their deceptive senses, does not make it any less real. If all men were blind, the stars would still exist. Neither reality nor truth, nor the God who is beyond and above all, be inconceivable to the minds of the ultimate man. Only man in his present undeveloped state and in his ignorance cannot conceive such things, and therefore, because in his blindness they are beyond his sight, he says they do not exist. In the beginning, I established the law, without which the souls of men could not develop and progress. Each soul is itself a divine fragment, with all the powers of divinity latent within itself. It can modify all but the great law. Man thinks, but his thoughts alone do not create, for as yet he lacks knowledge of the power which creates in substance. First, I created the firmament, which is the matrix of all. Then, when I took thought, the creative power flowed outward and, operating upon the medium, brought into being things of substance. My creation arose before me as a light does before a flame, or heat before a fire. It came and still comes into being because I exist. It is because I am. Creation is in no way affects me any more than a man is affected by a shadow or light by its reflection. As raindrops, waves, rivers, dew, and mist are all the forms of water, so is everything existing and knowable by man, but various forms of the one substance. This substance has its origin in me, but it is not me. I am the source of all things, supporting but not being supported by them. Even as the mighty winds which swept across the earth find their rest in the tranquil vastness above, so all beings and all things have their rest in me. It is a power outflowing from me, which holds all things in stability and form. They who devote their lives to my service must do more than love and worship me, for such service entails the elevation of mankind, the spreading of good, and the combating of evil. They must not only fight against the ungodly, but also overcome the wickedness welling up in their own thoughts. They who love me desire the well-being of all men. Their souls are filled with harmony and peace. Dearer to me than their love for me is the labor and tribulations of those who serve me. I am their end. I am never the God of inertia, but the God of effort. If you offer no more than deeds done in my service or in conformity of my design, then you serve me adequately. We'll break off there, but thought I'd just share some little bit of good news. It doesn't matter, I think, in the end of what you believe. If you believe in love, and if that is your motivation, you made it, baby. I mean, high five yourself. That's all I can say, man. I mean, I think this is why this group has thrived. I mean, there is love more abundant in this group than I've seen in others. I very seldom ever see conflict. It's just an amazing thing. And I take those words and I apply them to my life path. And here I am, about to be 68. And wow. And though the journey has been circuitous and sometimes looking like it was not leading, it always leads me back to that spiritual aspect of me. And though I fail in many aspects, not perfect, never have claimed to be, not sure if I want to be. I enjoy who I am with all my faults, with all those tendencies that are both, the pure and the profane. I still have the presence of mind, the balance to give recognition to that which gave me consciousness. I don't know what that is. It's not a God sitting on a throne. It's not a God sitting in hell, an idea of fire and sulfur and brimstone. No, not to saying that that doesn't exist. But I believe that there are beings such as myself who look at this and have weighed it and say, I want neither of it. I believe that we are separated when we pass over. Our reincarnation serves very little purpose. There's bigger jobs to be done. That's where I think today. Now, tomorrow, who knows? Deborah, it is. She says, this is the most intelligent and loving group elf. Yeah, it's wonderful. It's palatable. It's tangible. It's esoterical. It's spiritual. That's all I can say. S. Lee, thank you. Said that this group has helped him a ton. Yeah. So there we are, folks. You know, it's my hope that we all can feed upon this and we can all walk away, you know, fully satisfied that we can take the energy and pour that into our endeavors. Each one of us have our own. That's what's so cool about it. You know, that's why we come to the trough of knowledge. We come to drink, not to be drunken, but we come to be enlightened. And though knowledge be classified plus or minus, doesn't change it. It's still knowledge. And if greater beings than ourselves exist, which I have no doubt they do, then it would be wise for us to understand what those beings are. What did they do? I mean, I spent 50 years figuring out what the other side was about. Guess what? It apparently wasn't good enough because I left. So here we are, you know. Someone once said to me years ago and said, you know, Wayne, you're a wandering Jew, because I do have Jewish blood in me. And I said, no, I'm a wandering soul. You know, always have been. You know, as a kid, you know, 16 years of age, hitchhiking across the United States. I answered to no one. I was indebted to no one. I had no one but just myself. Many times standing out in the West Texas off Interstate 10, you have a lot of time to think. Anyway, have yourselves a fabulous Saturday and Sunday. We call it a weekend. Well, thank you, Scotty boy. I appreciate that, brother. Check is in the mail. That's all I got to say. And I appreciate it. That's true, Joyce. You know, rebel without a cause, right? Yeah, little James Dean, baby. Brian, you're welcome. So, folks, you know, enjoy it. Your uniqueness is unique in this whole realm, and not only this realm, it transcends this realm. We will all know each other in the other realms. We will recognize each other. We have a common bond. It transcends the physical. That's pretty cool. I often sometimes think that many of us were in the same tribe. Don't know. Depends on how your point of view, but it seems curious to me how some of us seem to hook up anyway. It's like, geez. All right. Preliminal. That's cool. I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, surely that's interesting. I think there's a foundation to that. You know, we can actually build on that, right? I believe that. All right, folks. I do appreciate all of you. Thank you. It's an honor. It truly is to have the amount of people that come in here, watch these videos, take their time, comment, put in time, and share the gnosis that you have. Thank you. Thank you for this community, and thank you for, well, helping to grow this channel. Now, I don't say it enough, but if you're not subscribed, then please, recommend your friends. Although if you have enlightened friends, then we need them in here as well. And definitely hit the like button. So there we go. 77 Sunset Strip. All right, buddy. Buddy. All right. And I guess I can say that dudes and dudettes, Mr. C, you have yourself a great weekend. It's called E&D, and not, we know what it stands for. It's party time. The eagle flies on Friday. Saturday, I go out to play. Yeah, I like to play. So, all right, folks. Peace to all of us. And we will meet up again very soon. Like probably